I hope you all had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend, which of course was capped off by the Oklahoma City Thunder taking a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals against the Minnesota Timberwolves. As I have been telling you for years on this show slash podcast, whatever you want to call it, NBA history tells you unless you are a 1, 2, or 3 seed, you do not have a shot to win the NBA championship. The Minnesota Timberwolves are a number 6 seed, and they were a great story. The way they came out, they dominated the Lakers. Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo had the series of their lives, combined with Naz Reid and Anthony Edwards outplaying Luka Doncic and LeBron James. The T-Wolves dispatched the Lakers in 5 games. They did the same thing to Golden State, gentlemen sweeping them after losing game one when Steph Curry went down. But Shea Gilgeous-Alexander may be the 2025 NBA MVP. Many people, including myself, may call him a free throw merchant, even though last night he really wasn't a free throw merchant. But the Oklahoma City Thunder are not just led by SGA, they're led by Chet Holmgren, they're led by Jalen Williams, they're led by another Jalen Williams, they're led by Alex Caruso, they're led by Lou Dort, they're led by Harvenstein, they're led by Mark Daigneault, their head coach. And this is the deepest basketball team, and they have very switchable wings. And DiVincenzo, outside of last night, has not showed up much in this series. Naz Reid, who was a killer early on in these playoffs, has been essentially non existent in this series. Julius Randle has reverted back to the Julius Randle we all knew and loved, the LA Lakers and New York Knicks version of Julius Randle. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are just not as deep as the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are just finding ways to throw bullets at them to make it difficult for Anthony Edwards to score the basketball. He only had 2 shot attempts in the first half. And this is the weird thing about Ant, right? I get it. He's 23 years old. Yes, he is this young at this stage of his career. It's very impressive that he gets back to back Western Conference Finals. But Anthony Edwards, to me, I'm starting to realize, is a little bit of a front runner. Where when he gets momentum going, when he feels good in a series, whether it's the Kevin Durant Phoenix series, whether it's the Denver series with Nikola Jokic, whether it's LeBron and Luka, or the Golden State series is this season, when Anthony Edwards gets it going, he talks trash on the court. He's very vibrant. He's got these Michael Jordan-esque moves and a personality to him. But when he is getting beat down, when he is losing, that trap, if you will, shuts up real quick. And SGA may not be as flashy as Ant, and I'm telling you, he's not as fun to watch. And if I'm being honest with you, outside of last night, which I thought last night we were going to get a classic game, I pretty much called this series so far. I said Oklahoma City was going to win the first 2 games. I said that Minnesota, then after that, because they got clobbered in game one and game two, they were going to come back and annihilate OKC in game three, which they did. Then I thought game four was the swing game to see if we were going to get a series. And it really was. It was obviously the closest game we got all series. And the road team pulled it out once again. And so in these conference finals at this point, obviously we have played 7 games. The road team is 4-3, which is shocking. The road team has won every game out there in the Eastern Conference, which we'll get to in a minute. Road teams have been very successful in this postseason, but last night sort of felt like the last gasp, the last shot for Minnesota. And the T-Wolves fans, they have been through heartbreak with Kevin Garnett. Now they're going through heartbreak back-to-back years led by Anthony Edwards. But SGA may not be, again, flashy. He may not be as fun to watch as Ant, and he may be a free-throw merchant. But these guys were 68 and 14 in the regular season. They now have 11 wins, so they're one way away from a 12th win and a berth to the NBA Finals. We know you need 16 wins to win an NBA championship. They've lost a grand total of 4 games this postseason, and 3 of them to the Denver Nuggets. I said it at the time. The Nuggets would give OKC their biggest challenge. I thought it was the NBA Finals. I think the Thunder are just better than the T-Wolves. Now, I did say this thing would go seven because I thought Minnesota would get it even at 2-2. But now that they did not, this thing will be over Wednesday night. And by Thursday, we will be talking about Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. And probably when we come back on the show, we'll be talking about Indiana up 3-1, probably going to close it more than likely at Madison Square Garden in Game 5 on Thursday night. Which I know this series at this point is Pacers net a +1. They've been very close games. If it wasn't for Karl Anthony Towns, which that game by the New York Knicks Nation will be dubbed the cat game, in my opinion, to save them, they were down by 15 points late in the third quarter, down by 20, near the end of the second quarter. Knicks go on a little bit of a run to end the half, then to end the third quarter to cut it to 10. And from there, it was Karl Anthony Towns who again just kept making plays, and then it was Jalen Brunson with a little tough floater late. And the difference between game one and game two is the New York Knicks were able to make their free throws. They were better from the free throw line than Indiana. They were better than them down the stretch when they needed to make two key free throws to advance the lead from 102 to 100 to 104 to 100. They did so. And if the Knicks did that, in the first two games, you could make a case the Knicks could be up 3-0 in this series. So even though I think the Pacers may be a team of destiny, no, I do not think that they are a championship team, and no, I do not think the New York Knicks are a championship team. But when you have two teams that everybody suspected go out in the semifinals, and then they both win in the semifinals, this to me is the kind of series you're going to get. It's two obviously historic basketball brands in New York and Indiana. It is the complete opposite of the Western Conference Finals, where that is more star driven. SGA, Anthony Edwards. Jalen Brunson's a really good player. Even if he's in New York, if he's still in Dallas, let's say. I don't know how much notoriety, if you will, he gets, as opposed to the fact that he's in New York. And you guys already know my thoughts on Tyrese Halliburton. I feel like sometimes he doesn't show up to play. Miles Turner has been big in their wins. Pascal Siakam, especially, has been huge. And again, for the Knicks, they have to contain the likes of Andrew Nemhard and Aaron Nesmith, and Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell. Those role players, even Siakam and Turner for the Pacers, because if all those guys get going from deep, Benedict Marjorie and Corded, who obviously is not at a great series, um, then the Knicks are in trouble. And for whatever reason, the Knicks do play better on the road, but I think this will be very similar for Indiana, the way it was against Cleveland. Fall flat in game three. I think the Pacers do feel confident in late game situations. Obviously, they dominated the Knicks. They feel like, the first 12 quarters of this series, they let one get away from them. I actually think tonight Indiana comes out. I think they win by double digits. I don't know if it's particularly close. And then I think in game five, the Knicks may get a little bit of a spurt. I think Indiana will come back and win the same way they did against Cleveland. This is almost a carbon copy of the series, in my opinion, the way that the Bucks and the Cavs were dispatched by the Pacers. If the Knicks do even it up at 2-2, then it gets really interesting. Where last year, outside of Game 7, everybody won on their home court. Could it be this year that, potentially everybody wins on the road in this series? These two teams faced off for back to back years. Obviously, last year was the right to get annihilated by Boston in the ECF. This year, it's the right, in my opinion, to get annihilated by Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.